evening.
Drupon kirang gike gogi mindula.
Gi komen det way. Gi ko shoji. Komen det way.
Nga ko to.
Ale.
Gogi mindula.
Ale ko lo se ina.
Nga ko to.
Todo.
Dadong gogi mindu.
Karan chiran tere je chi. Pasari me ne ko no to lo. Gi ko de lam do. Ko chiran tere ka shi sarwa. Ini ko gu marwa je ta tere. Ko bar chi zo ko ko gu marwa. Ko shi da marwa. Ina ko de lam do. Ja. Ja, okay. Dala damara chibe ra nobara chibe ge tarwa dan tamji chembe watu jubra chiba tamji je so chibe ma namka dan nyambe semjan tamji dewa dan devi judan dewa dan de dungara dan chi Yortu lana mi bara yang ta bara zobe changchu rinpoche to bara cha idala dong bara jibe cha no bara jibe ke tarwa dong tamji chenbe wartu ju bara jiba tamji je zo jibe ma namka dong nyambe Semjian tamji dewa dong den dong ra dong zhi nyo tu la na mi ba ra yang ta ba ra so be chang ju ren bo chi to ba ra cha ina ni chi tong tong sun de de
Inchi yegi.
ma do ye chi chi to ma do chi na lo no ma ro.
This to ngati tap yore. All right. I might have a different version than you guys, but I can just read what I have. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment.
Te je de sang ma je je wa tu nang a yi song ge wa la ko ma che wa tu nang a yi song ge wa la ko tu te ren ne song de nye ma sang ta zam je wa tu nang a yi song ge wa la ko.
For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
Dorjee chanje de lo na ro tang man me ta ko ma ba ma la chu ji man me ta ko pa du ji tian gong ge ri sim dan za be la me sha zi ju na ma ye dam chu yong la zu ban de zu da du qin jie lo cha sa ma be ma lo na ka na ni ma sha to ba ge ye la ba la ji be te la chang za wa de ne dang a zu de ne di sa chang ma da sa cha song ka se na sa che he ma je yu shi wa tian du de ne han di sa 대다사 좀 마송 공개 미바쇼 세네 한 카르산 마지나 제마다 퇴소 시라요 마베샤네 рем보 여러 와샤 어때 한치 다제 이거 스파사 소나 잠테 퇴소 당 바스.
So today is a little bit different than usual because I'm in a different place. So it's not perfect. So I'm sorry for that. But I also didn't want to skip this session today because it's quite a long text and we won't have time to finish otherwise. And so since it takes quite some time, I thought of not missing it and taking it quickly.
哎呀，OK，真的，当然说，上这个把啥节吧，时间了偏大吧了，特别给我们过是，那这穷别学是这穷别，就算这把成了，通常眼前我才是空难没的单位，我啊，我都出那把都我出问这把，送把学习所以说，啥这穷去，他经常是你经常跟就拉票是嘛，我出问那把没，我出问那把都赔钱同样嘛都是他。我出去看人这把水后中路才看着呢，他中路其实我他才学多。
So we completed the eighth section of where Milarepa is benefiting sentient beings. And so then we come to the next section, which is here in English, chapter 11. And so here again, Rajumba asks Milarepa, so he says, your deeds are truly amazing, but so far, what you described did only inspire tears and not laughter. Please describe some episodes of your life that also inspire laughter.
真的技术些呢，那么把那个储备去，你就把这边这个上半场嘛，也就叫刚才那边就是个把它上节点把它偏到把那个一幕中，我他技术去个储备，那把他没得嘛，也忙对家生钱嘛，我偏到完这里是，送多，一六七年去啊。
And so then Milarepa replied that those episodes that inspire laughter are those when I established human and non-human disciples on the path of practice.
我真的这穷别对家充满没常那么抗议抗穷拉去别，咱能对家充满的可穷着没得没你不是穷穷是挺多。
Yeah. So then Rajumba asked, so were the first of your disciples human or non-human?
真的托嘛也那么托咱们穷嘛他这些没有了那配起完对就是森林嘛就是配起没有了像那么穷的把什么钱嘛也森林嘛他们我把东把你也别乱都从是的，就他们嘛也是说他们穷松托穷点松在体节的没有了嘛忙去绿色这森林嘛，有点松体节了，体没有了嘛对这是的，我点把的了。对吧？这看这森林嘛的，你500多嘛是差不多他的，干不罢了哇！我听你不看点吧，别万都中多。
So then Milarepa replied, so first it was non-humans that appeared and tormented me. And after that, I mainly gathered human disciples. And so then came Tseringma, who was also a non-human disciple. And he said that it would be Tseringma and the non-human Tseringma and the human Upadumpa who will spread the teachings. And Upadumpa, that refers to Gampopa.
我真的是面的别就是这么那么看那些趟去玩的呗，你趟空给在那边把空主办自己去，我在继续去这么忙，其实那些的去玩你不能，是面把他看主办自己，这是种老气势种多。
And so then Seba and Ripa asked, so mainly your main retreat places were Lapshi and Chua. And apart from those two, what are other retreat places that you practice that?
我真的陪我有么看着当中是差别其中头嘛，在中说上面中说中就记得养生你当用着，中说差别福建些马扎哇些的天那那俺差别俺给你当推荐中把它先要福建它的出。那么，推荐做吧，那么是就更加用几个从那这个这呢，我们些班都从我咱这趟咱从忙不接，有的是差别从抽起的忙不但样都从忙不多是在广东的公家公鸡车呢，对，他光没些吧下什么。
And so then Milarepa went into a whole list of different retreat places that he practiced at. But he said then after having practiced in all of these places, then I completely separated from the meditator and meditation, the meditation object. And so now I no longer know how to meditate.
어레 정배 지수배 주니 세사죠 와다 다후로 나나 양치지 말고 그거는 와주들이 바리 덴바 토바로 가와 그리시 뭐만 두자 남나 소소 배 미견 좀 해주는 제 좀네 채널 상সম존나 부제는 오지메 좀와시스 와다 지수게 레총 경데 뭐 지랑 주니 세상 조사에서 투지 당 나서 로마 소라 냠노디 있지 지까지 뭐 두자서 지 좀서 메인
And then Rajomba again said, so it is through your compassion that has brought the nature of all phenomena, Tadamata, to complete resolution and realization, so that even we humble disciples have gained some experience in the practice. And so now please also mention each of those names of those places that you practice at. So there are 6 well-known fortresses, and so Rinpoche is just going to read the names of these now.
Chakarada so zong mi jiu chi ma zong ning wa cha ma la zong ra ma chang jiu zong jiang pian nam ge zong chakara Dorjee zong nam so sta ma ra bi zong chou si ma.
And so then the next are the 6 unknown inner fortresses.
Chong chong ge zong ji ba nian ma zong jiu ren ba zong zi xie xi po qiu xin zong hui xian dong yong zong zi pa gang ti zong nam so zang wei zong chou si ma.
The next are the 6 secret fortresses.
Jada nam ka zong da hu sen ge zong be po ma mo zong la po be ma zong na go du du tang chuo jia Dorjee zong na so yang zong ni ye si de yang zong ni yang zong.
And then there's 2 further fortresses.
Ji po nian ma zong bo tu nam ge zong yong su cha bi pu jian xie yong sha bi pu jian xie yo le.
And so there are 4 there are 4 greatly well-known caves.
Nya na chuo ba po la chi dun du po ji zhi po zhe shi zun ju po nam so ma zha bi zong ma zha ba xie ma zha po xie yo le.
And then there are 4 unknown caves.
在刚做普罗西罗耶我西普拉拉萨瓦普古汤普隆中那么说他们那个把那边把推荐做把有就给其他们就光就把因别光撇我他说光那推荐做不有的是把啥边不的是这就别其他是有个的是我这你其他出去光送多。
And then Milarepa said, if one meditates in these places, favorable auspicious circumstances will come together, as this is a place of solitude, and you will receive the blessings of the lineage. So therefore, you should meditate in these places. And so then everyone who listened to these teachings, they all developed renunciation and compassion for sentient beings and revulsion for the 8 worldly concerns. And they took as a firm commitment of practicing the Dharma and benefiting the Buddha's teachings with body, speech, and mind. And So then they vowed to practice in mountain retreats with perseverance, even in the face of great hardships. So this was the vows of the most senior disciples. And then the non-humans, they vowed to protect the teachings. And so then there were different practitioners in the assembly. And so the yogins and the yoginis who they practiced and then saw the nature of reality. And then those with the middling or intermediate capacity, they took vows to practice for a year or a month and so forth. And then there were even the least, even the worst of practitioners, and they vowed to abandon a particular sinful deed and to engage in a particular virtuous activity. And all of these disciples were said to have fulfilled all of their vows.
真的，咱这演技这几岁送，咱们来这穷苦几岁送小切的话，辛苦那很多那也大很多，那行是。
So next it says, so up until this point, Rinpoche had recorded Milarepa's words exactly as he spoke them. And so what follows next? So then what follows next is a presentation as it was narrated by Milarepa himself.
准备点把它生前了，偏把咱这边技术给一些，那准备从绿那么家这边去办的经济节，把它那在工作前部前部中的慢慢引出，咱把他们那么他们大干点，那么民主国把看到了给好了，那说穷苦的国了，我他这节把很多对呢，算的一个对出来是慢慢一直说多咱们去从大街，真的干点可能嘛，都是这个民主党的国把。 태면에 컨트롤 때 보러 뭐 무슨 뒤에 그래서 좀 더서 추지 보러 그래서 좀 남들도레스.
And so this section is divided into, so how he benefited the teachings in sentient beings is divided into three broad sections or cycles. And so the first one is a cycle on binding under oath the humans that had first tormented him. And then the cycle on establishing the heart disciples on the path of liberation. And then the cycle of turning the wheel of various Dhamma instructions to diverse lay disciples.
tamadaman chamar chonno ge je bombena yag tamdane lama chendo ge gorotene lama chendo ge la che ga je la che chuzang de je la che la chong be la che so da tamada be la che chuzang go tene la che ni ti de chong ne yong so cha be go ka go che mo zong te nam je la me ga ru che le he ma yu ro be ba de chong me yu mo kan ra go ne ga la yang go na chong de wa chong la to song ne te re che cho ri ba cha mo go song te na ma yu ro be ba sha ma chang zong se ye na mo che tam la da be go zong te ne jang me na ka zong da me da me ma yin du ja me ma bo pen da ne Yurmo Kara la Chong the Single in the Hosing on to Chong Mamaye, Manga, Tonzi, and the Hoto Chong the Jola, and Bazum Shi, being on a Robeton Chichon, then Barachoma, the Pola Chong the Kontan Post to show the go Kontan Post to show a Poron or Nipan to say on this unit in a Chasa Dorjee on like Tonzi by Dorjee. Me jere me holo na long holo na nam jung long de che par de ni ju karu dang le ba are chung Dorjee cha pa long de de se gula sa wo ra chung po de pin de ta je tang ti kong de ma ma ye zhe zong dui ra bo ren de tan di sa xia ka se cha xia Dorjee zong ta ta xiu de lu ne ji chu Dorjee ne jo ma ki long de re se Because another chip for Mambo long dancing on the top of near you to June the year, long there is. The young Dutch top of long there is long door. The Rachel is some stumble to law.
Is such a thing, Harry?
Charcia Dorjee.
And so then. So there's first a list of places where Milarepa first tamed non-human beings, and so then after this, then there is a cycle on how he met his heart disciples. And that was the time, so that started when he stayed at Dorjee. And the first disciple that he would meet here was actually Rinchen. And at that place, so Rinchen would receive from him the oral instructions of the Dakini oral transmission.
Gom to chung be ke and gom re pa je ti ji ro long ro nyum to chung be ke chime bom to re pa shi wa wu zang je jin long dong de ba cha guo da ren zeng mian zong re pa je de ne la che xiu be se na mian dong dian kan ru gu ba xin de se kang la chung be nam to tan ba jia hu ji ti ne ya lo bo ge de Goro la to ka chung re pa je ti ne gun yu bran ke rong ji kang da se shu ju re pa sa ma wang qiu tang je de 这是那种的那种就对于新建农田呢，马来种的炒菜都是节种，对种别开让种来爬当间看着个嘛种嘛的，别破么种对种下些就别自我来爬当啊，自我来爬乡镇的，都在来爬。昨天上坡些种的那坡别嘛种退休，一个别爬当街的几个啷个对坡当别破么种所想多不对劲，把那些交流人这样长。 来学别的过来的穷嘛当街的呢，你冇见你想个菜啦，就是起来的盘街的那总结些呢，就去年大起不会啦，下边准备弄点的各位各种节可工节的帮助吧，今天呢来穷当西工来爬建厂呢，那件多年用的学别的。 穷农茶最修真的去把最穷的森林里过着什么人把种的呢？直接定嘛那种别在这怕他妈往修都些当街的呢，就是那拿出把跑都修别在这个他妈把这当街别不种最修别就是了下铺别个说当街别，都不接在你这东把他路成多当街就是多把那些的过着当这些的穷不得不过着在把那些，这跑都没工来盘街。 那查的，你那查的嘛，三里五趟街的那几岁街，这么不头穷的，小别街的穷，所有穷把谁呢？所有穷要路过上看过去过了的呢，就把那头穷的，就把那头穷的，他不连我们的班级，这个做的刚才，中点的街弄点别记不，新包图些，现桥头就把刚包图把桥呢，给弄都经济把强学生把，那我现在是前街从美国的些把那没差不多街当街去，我来红军那从我前面东巴路从给对当街，现在结果你马总的学的这些东。 这节从这些边把它当街，叫他们这跟绿南街那呢，那块儿前头这呢，小街人张街最近看着没了，那么呢讲差不多也让你学的就马龙店呢，出些机。我他几岁，这趟他的听空对对，他几岁老马子穷了，穷去干啥了哇？十几张的，他这趟穷了，他妈你就利用个哇？我他这趟他几岁才看着农田穷呢？差不多你真啊穷的是。 这种类似，听到了土色机，因为这就说，他是某些事，我他是穷了，我是你真的是穷的是。
So, bara this to the success giera.
土色机，就说，是某些。
Suksora. Okay. So then first there is like a brief outline of all the disciples that he met. So it is a list of who he met and where he met them. And there's going to be much more in detail about the encounter later on. So this is basically a list of his 25 main disciples, as was prophesied by the Dakinis, who made a prophecy that there will be 25 of his disciples who would become Mahasiddhas. And so these 25 were his 8 heart sons, then the 13 kind of close heart sons, and then the 4 sisters.
这你这样去了，这东西有这里很多人拿做水，种来当上面种个些出去，那么当这边这边没种，或者那么给就来个人个这种个不把就对红包的这个人天天讲他们对兄弟帮个人那个人什么的也都么个，这呢这些就是这啥个这呢这穷嘛当这帮了你这些对过来穷些就上穷别个人也来穷呢，什么能别个不。Lamding Nam Po Me Guru Tene Nanyama Nam Jie Jian Chang De Nam Chu Bu Qiu Zie Ji Su Qian Nam Tar Zong Ne Re Qiu Ge Yu Guo Karu Ma Si Ge Dong Qian Jie Sam Jia Le De Tu Ren Tu La Tam Ba Jie Be Guru Le Qian La Yin Tu Yi Bu Jia Xu Chang Be Guru Yum Jie Chen Sa Bu Jie Le Guru Yum Jie Chen Sa Be Guru Tang Nian Ma Zan Zan Ma Nian Na Ma Ne Re Nian Na Ba Na Jiu Qi Qi Jian Guo Qiu Ba Zui Chong Ne Xia Le Ge La Ting他这样的过了去过来就陪你有钱没过这些他做的让大家现在去过了这些考虑用这些他会就给过了的那么的年嘛就给个什么来的你这个上课的这些他会就的年嘛几过了的什么的不做的也的将来吧他然后训练过了回来的做吧几吧规定住过了他用是就是把它用是插把他马扎被全过过了别是工作上就没加过呢他也别跟连基本忙不了没做着开过把它他安保了的安保人这让人那么他没办最近他妈那么强学都先进呢强学是别给了吧了老把它的怎么的不就跟没那么那块给话家乡那看头里他这边的过把呢这突然那么看当年别身边的上节的把你么子呢身边可吧你从节中他就把这把拉说我他这十几张说我真的十几次说他妈这期这单我们这边搞不出去的准备给人把身边的骗到班这把我说的对吧身边我的十几的他在那里马西边现在他这说通达他说嘛接着用给我
那这 subject 通达干
十几那这个别晓通达才话真的嘛是接了几岁的空周东讲了讲睡着了他罗马没他们嘛，罗马是说接真的可以说那过来去，长时间先把这周东讲过了，然后才就走啊。
So this was also an outline that will be discussed much more depth later on. So this is an outline of the different cycles of how his disciples gained accomplishment and then benefited sentient beings. So the humans as well as the non-human disciples, how and what they did to benefit sentient beings. So this was just like an outline, just listing them all. But anyways, we'll go one by one into much more detail later on.
他他们是咱们嘛也做咱把那他们那大别国没那新土国是没那新土，就是没那新土送的国人多他。
我是被看到多。
啊。
看到多。
没嘛也做咱把他们那大别国是，也没那新土国是。对。
我什么这了什么？给些差不多嘛的吧。
你这不得听我听马啥去？你马啥给些这去哪提天是马的他，天是啥的他。
你给对面个对吧？看到是。
他是去哪是南啥的是吧？
对的，人家太不得让出来的对吧？
因为天你都要说会做几块多小子。
对。Okay, now we are apparently we are going to a different text now, which I didn't know about, but I'm gonna just try to pull it up really quickly. All right, then the cover to tab.
The Chaman Chonong course and way.
Just
Gotcha, Chaman Chonong course and way.
1 second. Let's see.
他唐伯特上去。
Ja, 얘는 양아 탭 가가 얘나 탐보다 탐보 말아. nga keshe chapo bare na to.
말이지 자다다 남자한테 지고 그래서 살아 된 걸몸다 된도한테 몸카시 도한테 몸카시 나서 살아.
Na gumbum nguma de 탭 쳔보 derwa.
그래.
I just think. Okay, I didn't know that. So I have to wait for a second and I have to open this book. Of course, wait a minute. I want to do this now. Wait. Okay. Memayin, right?
我们嘛也做咱们他们大北国没那新中国新推了吧？对罗对。
Okay, so I am, just in case you're interested, turning to the 100,000 songs now. They call it Chonglong. Oh yeah, so I am now following the 100,000 songs of Milarepa, the new translation. It's what I'm using. And that starts with, so it's called cycle 1, the binding under oath of harm inflicting spirits, and it's chapter 1 called Mila gathers wood.
对啊。他南蒙古人是那叫往球，就是没来这把，这么从我是瞧着新不俺来学会对那么些才能说吧，打工钱，切差多少，才去当，切差去多少，所大几毛的过来新看样没别他。他干那样去样没别没都没，那好像老当茶碗都样没的，前头人做过工的，是他几岁没来这把，在长毛桥上来学会的，其实我同对他咱班中我的，菜中我的，在去中我的，忙着我看也有没得事。他那先说没当然先说么都是的呢，他不干了去么都是，我这没我嘛的啥，那别路当去查都他，他先做如果上他先如果送来啥。
So this was the time when Milarepa was staying at the Chonglung Garuda fortress, and so there's a time when he was practicing in a state of Mahamudra, and eventually he ran out of all of his provisions, so there was no food, no salt water, there was not even a little bit of wood left. And so then at that time Milarepa thought to himself, it seems that my abandonment of provisions has become too intense. I should get out to gather some wood.
真的，他先头从头先头吧，刚刚才做的做这热汤，得当多少多啊，就那个后那这对路啥的，我才看你呢。这农钱不是那说老板是农钱不，热从头热些先从头先先从头热从头先钱都先从头热钱都是，这投工呢，那就是没得投工啊，日数提高些，他们当地路通嘛都，什么当地路当嘛他们去做开始起过样的。他这个先先是的把送的把你看路当当意思。
So then he had just found enough wood to fill part of his rope, but then a strong gust of wind suddenly came up, and so then when he tried to hold on to his rope, the wood would blow away, and then when he tried to hold on to the wood, then the rope would blow away. And so then Milarepa thought to himself, even though I have been in retreat for so long, I have still not abandoned self-clinging. So what's the use of my Dharma practice if I don't give up self-clinging? No, and then he said, so if he said out loud, if you want my clothes, take them. If you want my wood, take them. So he spoke to the wind.
我真的做完跟别做的事嘛，那把它有些前面先别些东西吧，到这行动起来都。头就为娘下呢，是俺那跑路些，娘把下的，他的是，我真的他，真说吧就差呢，真的光被那么些长毛期，真的把真把多少都是那个是， The chamber is for sound long to pa me ba cha do shin re ya shi kong re go ya shin dong zai la those the told you in yam sha so se pong lo pro sa zai gong de nyam ba sha di is
and so then because he was already so emaciated that the wind just took him over and he fainted. And when he came back to consciousness, the wind had already ceased and his ropes was hanging on top of a tree. And he felt very overcome with disillusionment or sadness at that time. And he sat there and meditated.
Oh, then that he got the show the short long thing. That sharing short long to you said. Long said Mara user. Or Mara user teach what I said. Drink up in the you know, 13 per you want that. Long Rosary, Samson, Lama, Lama, Dajor Mabaro said, I show you in Namsons, Lama Yamin, Chero, Dorjee, when the Duke, my Duke, Yabachi did it. One Dama announced to chansons, certainly. Tata show na Jimarum, some Tata show the Jane Drogo, Samsons, Gonding, Yamata Joshi Sigan, Lama Chan. That's a job at seeing the Bashan that shown the Jeja Mabodan, short songs, and then a machero, Borsa song.
And so then from the eastern direction, the direction of the Drupon Valley, a white cloud appeared. And a Drupon Valley is the place where Marpa resided. And so Milarepa then thought to himself, under that cloud is where that's where Drupon Valley is. That's where my guru Marpa is. And so at that time he remembered the guru and his retinue and all the teachings and empowerments and instructions that he had received from Marpa. And he felt longing for his guru, and he thought how nice would it be if he would be here now, or if I could go and meet him. And so at that moment he was overcome with sadness and memories of the past of having met the guru, and in this state of sadness he shed many tears and then sang this song of remembering the guru.
Or Namachambe, don't see be Jantumati, Marabaji, Chamachun, Shashone, Chunzi Kaling, deeper getting or Jabberlan changing, do Kena, do sing changing, shading on the chan trouble, Gombasho, Maleke, treating it in Saleba, Dentin Sali, bathing, Tsuyotina, Suyo, Sume, Yotana, Rajur, Marabasho, to the Takunakabalanga changing. 首先，平阳今年度每三篇现在那马这贡献马瓦罗三这用马的差别当没马对的在用那个瓦了，才古早上阳今年度咱们这把个阳今年度三篇现在贡献马瓦罗三这你就得也对他的过那个瓦了，不管穷那年度我们去年都三篇现在那马这贡献马瓦罗三这怎么那个就对他从那个瓦。 I need to change your door. Come send you change door. Something I'm saying. Sinala Marja, Marva, Losa, Gumshin, Marva, Losa, Chiro, do that to the Shona, and torture and the Nindo, Kobashi and the Nindo, some cases in there. Gumshin, Marva, Losa, Jumbo, Jumbo, me, John, Lama, Chen, do be on the Solami, who don't know game of the Soshi. What I say, this almost that's all the Marvik Duke here that one eye the Chi that's what changed those. What it to that should be on the Shunakaruka use. What you gonna chirot to the summer and Jenny on those, the Solay was when you taught. So doors and China, Chindo those. What in the time was it on Mara China Chan, the coach. 都出品都说了没吧？我这人也是，那你我会动啊，这有了动啊，把说话起三多点就知道了噻。
So then to summarize the meaning of the song, so in the song he remembers the teachings on the tantras and the empowerments and the essential instructions that he had received from his guru Marpa, and he says how wonderful would it be to be together now? And then he remembered how he had met his Dharma companions, and how wonderful would it be to exchange our experiences together now. And so he was so seized by his missing of the guru and their disciples that he couldn't. He said, I cannot rest. I cannot speak. I cannot bear. So therefore, with a great devotion, he supplicates the guru to take away his sorrow.
Lama ya lama guancho, yang ya lama guancho, shablo, mari ru simjian ki jintong, huare churan zikzib tabala, yuntian jibin tujian sambo, chongma yinam, jie yin rong, chu tang ala, cheta mi, ruba denba simjian, tong chi ki zombi nyam shi xiawen, jibi sola mi ba, no no, or the non yin, ma lo shang de.
And so then on a point of a cloud stretched out like a banner of 5-colored cloth, sat Lord Marpa before him, riding on a white lion, adorned with many ornaments and appearing even more splendorous than when Milarepa had been with him in the past. And Marpa said to him, my son, great sorcerer, why have you called out to me with such anguish? Have you lost trust in the supreme jewels, the Guru and Yidam? Have you been chasing your thoughts, the objects of adverse conditions? Have the obstacles of the 8 worldly concerns corrupted your retreat? Are the demons of hope and fear getting to you? Above, have you offered service to the Guru, the supreme jewel? Below, have you shown generosity to sentient beings of the 6 realms? In between, have you purified your own obscurations and negativity and given rise to excellent qualities? Have the conducive conditions for these not arisen? So then, whatever it may be, you and I are inseparable. So through your practice, benefit the teachings and beings. And so then at this vision, with unbearable joy, Milarepa sang this song in reply.
Oh, so that Lame Shinton Soto Jambo Ning, Nimunda, Jang, Lama Chambe, Lama Namdashibani, the Wamo Hudaneji to get him. Also, Chumi Nawatam Jiga, Chumi Nawatam Jiga. Otanin dan Teresa Zondo, Lama Chambe, Namtars, Mohuto Fat, then Jasons, to get in her own skill, Chumi Nawatam Jigas. 就没被弄他们搞死噻，我在那开情报在嘞，俺说你对敲在情报，那么的，然后先上这种，这左边那就是敲在情报，就没会点接噻，送多的，就没那么搞，送在敲在情报那个多学啥的话，是没会提起。
So he sang this song and of remembering the Guru and then hearing the Guru's speech, and so the most important part really is where he says, having received my Guru's great compassion and blessings, all non-dharmic appearances, all of them have ceased. And so that is significant because it is that really through his devotion, all non-dharmic appearances have ceased. As we usually say, I'm a yogin who has realized the Guru, the Buddha, and my own mind to be one. So when one realizes this through devotion, when one develops such devotion, then it is said that it's through this devotion one realizes Mahamudra.
那么这边中央的几十年的前了的张本的张了当晚的为美在东西都也讲你这都像这般的那么你别写多年结果了之后这般的看着你别写多上次没别他们就的上节点别写多年现在这般你把的国美生前进同那个些你的对这就没差现这些帮别个他们的人多几遍推荐那么这边真节真难这把真难节推荐中心各个节长着手心把它情节咯听过什么
So gone.
That in your tema.
So then I will continue. Rinpoche said it's very nice to read this song. So then it continues after that. My longing of remembering the Guru pained the ears of the Jetsun, and yet this beggar couldn't help it. I would do it again. Please continue to hold me with your compassion. The practice of persistence and endurance in hardship, this is the service to please my Father Guru. Wandering alone in mountain retreats, this is the service to please the Dakinis. The genuine Dharma, free of self-regard, this is the service to the Buddha's teaching. Making life and practice entirely equal, this is how I'm generous to protectorless beings. With endurance, I am joyful when sick and I'm happy to die. This is the broom that sweeps away karma, obscurations, and non-virtue. The austerity of giving up food obtains through harm. This is the conducive condition for experience and realization. Father Guru, I repay your kindness through practice. Protect your son with compassion, Lord Guru. Grant your blessing that this beggar may keep to mountain retreats.
She is on a total singing on the regulation, but in the Drupon to Chompe Jibor, the Jiborna Jack, Sarah may Purgozam, Jibangando, so then that's the Simbajibo, non patient yet now the Sonshadans, Chaco non Jack Asara, make Purchimbos at the Zomio, provide your Nados. Or then Jackie to see me, the Chuji, Jackie to this and that, the Chuji, Nick Chunia, six don't so Calanda, so Jake Betchan, that did those. Then the that is too much in other situations. TJ that Shidama got you inside the zone. Tenetani in the urine body in Domadan Jimmy, Dobanda Chimita, Dobashi Chigo something, Condobashi was a runner.
And so then, with a happy mind, he took his robes and went back to his cave, to his retreat place. And when he entered his cave, what he found was 5 atsaras. So it's like a kind of spirit beings. And they had huge eyes and sitting on top of saucers. And one was sitting on Milarepa's one was sitting on Milarepa's bed, and the other one, and then 2 of the other ones, or one was sitting on a bed and was teaching the Dharma, and then 2 of them were listening to him, and then another one was cooking some food, and another one was reading Milarepa's texts. And so at first, Milarepa was in a state of fear, and he thought to himself, these must be apparitions of displeased local spirits. Maybe I have not offered them a dharma, or maybe I have not offered them praises of the place. And so that's why he thought I should first offer them offer praise to this site, to this place. And so then next he sang this song of praise to that site.
Imagine better to remember near the right of the better back you, but no Mangaranji, Gondo, you Japan, Chono, Chonke, on the Nato, and Kumago, one of the Chamajo, Wanago, Lamana, the Nasibe, Muchi, Chonki, Chichi, one metal team, the Chamana, Chono, the Chanachi, Janachi, Jadana, so on the John Maladi, Yamse, Chachu, Sim, John. MBT 前写大的新亲的人嘛，用我们嘛也强烈给对这种强烈给对这人从那让说那是听，我他是多把起的，咱这上去呢，没来的把强说先你们去考的是年的，我这那是咋行不？别那这有天忙不都是吧？有天忙不都是我天律。提纲了没来的把那你们去考是我天律，咱这样做强，这这样做。The Achamni could do strong in it, that's also need persons about it.
So he sang this song of praise for the site, for the place. And so he said that this is the place where I'm practicing bodhicitta. This is the place where I'm meditating. And then he mentions the many qualities of this place. And then in the end, he says, so you spirits, drink this nectar of love and compassion, and then go off to your own lands. And so then after he had sang the song, the Atsaras looked still quite, gazed at him with quite hostile looks and quite angry. And it didn't seem to appease them. And so then, in fact, that led to them increasing. Suddenly there were 7 Atsaras. And then they stood all in front of him, and some of them were biting their lips wrathfully and baring their fangs and laughing and yelling with a booming voice. And so they tried to intimidate Milarepa, and the demeanor toward Milarepa was quite hostile. And so then Milarepa thought to himself, so these spirits are making obstacles for me. So with a wrathful gaze, first he tried to recite some powerful mantras, but then they didn't go away. And so then he tried it the other way, giving rise to great compassion. And he taught them the Dharma, but also they didn't go away. And so then Milarepa then thought to himself on remembering how Marpa had pointed out the nature of all phenomena, so how all appearances are actually the mind, and how the mind is actually Dharmakaya, and Dharmakaya is emptiness. So the mind is luminosity or appearance emptiness. And after he had resolved that point, then he thought to himself, so to take these demons as something outside of outside of myself is completely useless. So then he sang a song of confidence. me chua be sing bombar mo kala cha ba zi som do ba thong go chung chen chung na pa ro chung khala poro ba thong me zi chung khala poro no zi na yo re je ba thong le zi nya sam la chu ba chung me nya chu ye so na nya chu ye so zi na nya chen chu ye so ba zi chang ji ba la thong le thong ja so ja ke pa mo do me he ja ke pa mo do me he shin da re ji ba thong le chung me la yin de ban zhe me ji me la de ban de je ne lu do ba thong go chung che de
Chirang so Chirang Jong Jedong so Tana Yumang Zashi many who to show Baji, Kashizun have to Jirong do Jan, turn up to right to Jeton, turn up the Gosum Zen, Sika Machu Chivanochi, Chipachi to Maso Medo or Pachi Maso Dodona, Tana Yumakari, James. Or some Milarepa, Jeton Tando, Gorth Man's Pen or Tina Tonado, think of Milarepa and J Magics, Milarepa and J Jana. Then they look over Tongo Jones. Or that's an answer to you by being on such emotions, answer. That's a long answer. Zoom Chomorma Yaponagos, Chiranzo Turgondos, as Zeno, Jangos, Kazi Chiranzo draws on what's our is. Well, that's a new known what's on the
So this song is mostly just a kind of metaphors and examples of how Milarepa is fearless, of how he says, I'm not afraid of ghosts. So in the end, basically he says, I'm Milarepa, I'm not afraid of ghosts. And if I had fear of ghosts, realizing the abiding nature would be of little use. So then he invited the ghosts to stay a little while. He says, don't hurry, just relax and stay for a little while, stay for tonight, and let's chat about everything under the sun. And don't hurry. You can stay one night. It would be a shame if you would leave if you would leave tonight. I mean, before tonight, you know.
She is on a 2 King on the Nan to John B. Asaran Dikak Mary Retin and the Wagon on a military nearing to John J. Guna Tempetar, J. Runto to me by yours. What in the tender Jitu tongue, 2 dumping Ajar taking on the Nazi to do. As I read how much Nazi, this J. Tim, J. Tama J. Pardon, don't she? They may watch us.
And so in this way, Milarepa rose before those demons with confidence. And then the Atsaras all looked at each other and then started to disappear one after the other. So very quickly, one Atsara dissolved into the other. And then there was only a single one left, and that one dissolved too.
Jitu to go on like Jabomena Yagilan, so Bando, Menus of the coach, Bando Lamate and the Lamani Bando to the watch was something measured by Jones, what in it? That is some of the gay Jabomena Yagis so thick. That's a chuntu tended inside. Give me long to chuntu inside. Then I make the Lamate and Lamega Dianeta, what it. Chomelo, something, Yaman, Yambe, Zambi Machaya, content songs. What's in a gay Jabomena Yagachi, Lamatindo, Tamanchon, Malaching to Borje, the Tonji, Latin, something so was.
So the Milarepa thought to himself, like, wow, this king of obstructing spirits, his name was Vinayaka. Says he really gave it a go. And he thought, well, it started all with this first gust of wind that blew away the wood and the ropes. That was all his magical doing. But then because of the guru's great compassion, he was not able to get to me. And so then his practice actually was enhanced beyond comprehension. And so this single cycle here of this section has 3 different names. So the attack of Vinayaka, the king of obstructing spirits, or the 6 remembrances of the Guru, and the red rock of Chonglung.
Oh, Teneta, let's choose on quarters, let's choose on quarter. Namong Nijo to Milarepa Chamason, Robi, Lamega, to Chelachi. La Tona June, Lachi, La Chombe, Gombe, Lachi, Negos, Yana Zarma, Cha, Pive, Zarmala, Chansa, Chimbo, you be Chedam La Tata, Milarepa, Java, Soba Gatola, Dembaki, Mimi, Retula, Shuba, Chuba, Namba, Yubanji, and Dobeji Suki, Yamba. Niamba, you be a Jitu Kobum here, Chong to go Chong to Chombe, Hunima, yes, or Jebashi, Che Chombe, Lexibom in the Kenejo to Kane, Jitu Kang, Lani be Gombe, Kuchambela, the Pani, say, Yonamo, Chula, Sedon City, and Jebashi, Long Serevi, and Monarian so what chang cho cho Milarepa serva yinam service zisu settlement me mo da to nan to jo de chiba nam tarin ne do serve chupa ga mo te ta ran li go dong la pie ba la do gu chi la dong la de xiang bu la de lo ju chi ne zisu yin ba nge pa chang dai nan jian de chang ne gu na ti mo mo an do be chen go ne yong da chu bo xiong ne ma jie do be yi de mo yin be zisu go la xie da xie ji yue na ma kan to chong la xie kan la gom de ro zong be kong nang de lo jo mo xiu ba xiu ba xin jie fu sa xin jie lo ros 我他的就是没来的话，他的拉起了那边搞着去，他拉起着过上，他娘能爬上来，是娘能怎么是他的驴，怎么是他的，他没上次说出破多么的事情，我说多么提纲，他工作给钱了，他平常就没来的话，是出来那么大就有啥的，平常做人家呢，要不看着我是挺老人，我在那边那考了，真的。技术提高，这看了弄的是这历史bomb是真的，是有人历史bomb，我这个同呢这是一些技术提高啊，没来的话，因这啦的是我呢因别是因做长久的，因这那边这工作上面其他就没来的话，因呢，比方说要不从开些抢些，开些落雨期的呢，工作被协调要不做，我这期呢，他就看到这边我来清楚意思。Habres o la chisena ten gelong jomo se tibin gelong jomo la fisa la chisati me on gelong jomo ten son rope sa ya bo je orse ter china chiro chis o ten sons.
And so then the next chapter is where is Milarepa's journey to Lapchi Chusang, and so he arrived first at a place called Tarma in Nyanang. And so at that time there was a wedding going on in Tarma, and the local people of Tarma were chatting with each other at a wedding that there is this man named Milarepa who lives in mountain retreats and lives in great austerity. He's a true practitioner. So people were talking about Milarepa. And then after that, Milarepa was actually close by, and a young woman appeared, and that was actually Lekshebum. And she asked Milarepa who he was, and he said, "I'm the meditator Milarepa." And she was so surprised. You are really Milarepa? Because everyone was just talking about him. And so then she brought him to the assembly of the wedding participants, and some of them prostrated to him, and some of them asked him questions about his story, and asked him, now where will you go? And Milarepa said, "I'm going to Lapchi to meditate." And so then they said that, but first you must stay in our homeland, which is the Gyomo Demon Valley, and bless the land there. And we will offer our service, so you will have no hardship.
我他今年那这嘛是，这没来的北京大的多的区划里面历史西的嘛，这个是界面里面历史bomb是多没来的北京大。我的清楚的区划线是吧？
区划。
这界面历史bomb那么多，我工作的沙场这没来的北京大的多。像这面嘛，我去我过去我啦，这工体的点，他们来去东西当个吧。我来去东西当的，这小马街工作那一点蛮多过是，但来去东西怎么来的？工作不来抢手是吧？小马街工作，然后工作工作是第一个，小马街嘛的工作是第一，工作奶去这个六数呢，这就差多是工作奶去在第一，这就去过错是，但是先把第一这个嘛是的工作奶去，我这就去错我的成，但先把先占嘛了，我去我跟我了看这个，然后先把这占到帮忙的。
什么看lap做嘛的？
这没事先把的，但先把嘛了，真对了了。
先把嘛多。
我去我跟我了，
So and so this lady Lekshebum, her husband was Shedormo, and so she and her husband were actually Milarepa's main benefactors in this area from Tormo, and they were such great benefactors that actually it became a tradition that from that time onward, whenever there was a Lapchi and Dorjee to be appointed, because that was the Lapchi area, that at least one night after the appointment, at least one night, this Lapchi Dorjee would have to stay in their family's home. So that went on until just before 1959, actually. Then the descendants of that family, every time there was a Lapchi Dorjee, that after his appointment, he had to stay one night in the descendants of Lekshe Burman Chedormo's family.
Well, that in my duty, right? Or the Lapsi don't go to down, run to go to down, do the consoles. The console can energy console the dog way out of it.
Yeah, and the Lapchi Dorjee was sent from Drupon to be the Lapchi Dorjee in the Lapchi region, and so then the future generations of that family they would continue to live in that region. Whenever a Lapchi was sent from Drupon to the Lapchi area, then he would have to stay one night at least in that family's home.
Well, the Yana Masters at the Carson and Lapchi Malhers, Tapa Yana Mount, Rwana Sola, the Lapchi the Bira.
So this place, Nyana Tarma, that is an area that you get to just before you get to Lapchi. So it's very close to Lapchi.
What in the long Jomo Saki, Jinjela Bosi, Chapo, Majaraban Bruce, Tombanari, Yondanam, Katie, Jomosi, Lachi, Jomoyi, Lama, Telechona, Jicho, Chapo, Bruce, Tomba Shazia, Gune, Yondan, Ala, Gitano, Gomo, Rosakam, you go some day and by your matter. Brought by Yamado when you're talking about Hughes, and you're going to chop, Jesula, your third, Chijin, Generation, my Lamika, Drop and Drova yi zong kong nam de ga rang yi de ne che song bo ji xia po dong sen ji zeng la zhe chu lan so ba dong xia po jiang me go me xie rang dian be so ba sang bo rang dian ba me xie me be tong ma rang ji guan zhou ji ji na xia po ji ba wong zi qie ding chu da zong me ji zhu la qie kang ra la zong la zhe be be qiu liu chang bo qiong Children Chabula, Pimne, Napati, Tre, Budalo, Chubanam, Chu, Pintu Yerabata, Chu, the Amnes, Balam, Troba, Timboton, Jitu, the Hanshan, Karanzu, Neta, the gave me but to chart in the Mazam, children, my Yinam Rippers on Yerabata upon Mambo, Bala, Trojin, Doben Karo, Piture, Baratu, to Jubande, Lampu, Babashi, and Karuganam, the chart. My children, Chiwan Lami Chumana, La sort of Karu Galam, those are to long at Hasina to Kukin, Dola Shabje, Jones, and education, and Paya, Tamato, we gone here to Sinjana, Tom Jampating and Ziku Chamans, Washington, Tomara Chum, Chaman to Charles. What I did to the market, that console can la console Dangelo Jomas on Professor Dropa does I have was able to Jackson do Yushmados. That's in Jobo Perosi said, that you then to that. Chilan Drope Sachi Droch missing all Mega Dropiachi no is was this one Sunday Chilan Drope Sachi Laviachi my dog mess. Malameka sheet drogis. Paris. La make the Coranso get la Mega in other Carina, so Latin happy Lagica Harris. Also started Latin happy to Beres. What the Laris, the budget to son de la part on the bed, to Mambo de Gang and Mambo Trison, stay Mars on with us, such as a bit Gibon station. Candle Langa, the Cruisons, Candle Lam to Mars on the La God, Gandhi, the Strada, be two lamp entrons, main Chamgans, that can make main Chamgan. Chamba, Simjantum, Chambe thing as the Tronsons, Reti Gan, Chamgan, Chambegan. What remained out what under do see Alexander and someone or mother have tuned to Mambo.
Okay. So yeah. So then those the people then said to him, so he had to go to this area in Yomo Demon Valley, so which is in the like nomads area, and they said, please go there quickly. There's all these demons there, and tame them. And the Milarepa said, I'm going quickly, but the reason I'm going quickly is not actually for your sake, the sake of your land. The reason I'm going quickly is because I have a command from my guru. And then the people said, that's fine with us. You can go for your guru or you can go for us. It doesn't matter as long as you go quickly. And so then he went, and to summarize, he encountered many hardships, many hindrances on the path, but then also the Dakinis kind of offered a path to him, kind of made a path for him to travel. And so that path, then Milarepa gave that the name, because it was given out of great loving kindness towards sentient beings. So he called it the heights or the path of loving kindness, or Chamgang.
我呢去上对穷呢去我那个根本不大看到了，比如我讲或者当前不自己，嘛去上能把刚呢记住了人家的话当托上从家查破怕呢，现在目前手些每年别着呢妈是我妈当把全妈一，拉出来都讲呢就这点别讲的总说实话真的。这里来去上怕穷人，所以去上了求的，他有人我讲比较穷，你这他。非我不如现在，但来起心胸才是，来起心胸才是非我不如是。我这他提起码的，我这去上这种吧，看这人也吧，拖他就吧，可是明白这的啥东西的，咱们的那忙不起，送是的，那来就就这个才就送一是空的。
So then he arrives in Chuzang, which is in Lapchi Chuzang, and there he meditated for a long time. And so there was this great demon there in the form of Baro of Nepal, and this demon had an army of spirits. And they filled the entire area of the Chuzang Valley, and they would cause all kinds of havoc by like throwing thunder bolts towards Milarepa and making a fierce rain of weapons fall on him, and so on. And so eventually then Milarepa sang to them a song on cause and effect, on karma.
我他这里他上心是的呢，那这里啊，第啥他看戏给他说，我这里啊，你刚在出去了，他就有。他其实啊，可东这东这东头嘛，说的呢，你妈的嘛，这东西吧。特工他这我们家呀是没把去看这下礼拜这起码是过起码有是吧？他真上下一下呢。
So we stop the teachings here for today, and so today we stop right here actually. Because actually Rinpoche says I've had teachings all day long, and also he didn't get to his daily practice, his recitations yet, and he really can't skip a day. So he must do this practice, and therefore so today we will actually not meditate, but we will continue with our meditation next week.
Is it okay?
Thank you so much, Rinpoche.
Yeah, thank you. Gracias.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias.
Bye-bye.
Thank
See
you.
you next time. Gracias.
See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next
Thank
week.
you. Selamat pagi. Kawan.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.
See you next week.
Yeah, okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
2月7日呢？
不对这样。Thank you.
再见嘛。
Yeah, 再见。
Estamos ahí dando vueltas.
有人在问说，出版手店的那本书